Welcome back. Welcome back. This is Ola coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios, the Prestige family. Shout out to you. Welcome back. We have some things to talk about today. Okay, let me first of all say hello. What's up, gracious greatness? What's going on, my brother? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome back. Today we're talking about basket mouth. I'm looking at the news with you for the first time. Together, we're looking at it for the first time together. Okay, so I saw the news earlier and I said, you know what? Oh, it's sad, but we're going to extract whatever news we can find out of this. Shout out to Isabel Chukura, Miss Chukura. Good to see you. Thank you for coming through. Welcome. Gorex Corner. Welcome to everyone else watching me right now. Do me a favor. Okay? You know what to do. Hit that like button. Share this. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That doesn't make any sense. But, never know. Maybe you missed it. Maybe you forgot. But just hit that subscribe and turn on all the bell notifications, all that stuff. That way you can see us when we come live. You increase your chances of seeing us. And if you really want to be notified when we come live, the best way to do that is to join the WhatsApp group. Okay? All you have to do is just go to this link, www.lolandola.com/WhatsApp on your phone. It will take you right into the WhatsApp group, and then I'll notify you. That way we don't have to depend on YouTube algorithms. The truth is that there's more content than there are people, and sometimes the algorithm doesn't really consider you like that. So if you want to be notified when I go live, definitely join the WhatsApp group. Okay, if you have any problem joining through that link, let me know. We'll do something about that. All right. And shout out to John Nicole. Good to see you. Welcome. Hello. Bumi. Hi, Miss Bumi. Good to see you. Welcome. All right. So let's talk about this. Okay. We have this news. I don't want to waste too much time. Okay. We already had like a countdown time to breathe and to. So I want to respect all of your time and I want to get straight into it. Okay. We got a few things to cover today. I'm going to cover some of the news we're supposed to cover. And by the way, I'm back to every day now. Every day. Okay? Every day, 5 p.m. I'm back to every day. So make sure you set your calendars, clear your calendars, make sure you're here. Okay? So just keep that at the back of your mind. Now, in addition to that, we're releasing tons of videos. Okay? So if you can't watch it in that time, add it to your watch later. Okay? And if you really don't have time, I'm releasing shorts every morning too. Little lessons here and there that you can pick up, that you can add to part of your arsenal. And there's nothing I say here that's absolute truth. Okay, they are coming from my experience, they're coming from my filters, but they're useful for you to, for us both to rub our minds together. So if you have any smoke whatsoever for anything that I say here, please bring it on, because this is how we learn. You really don't learn from just taking what I say as gospel truth. You learn from, hey, that kick against what I have to say or what I felt before. Let me share my thoughts. And then that way, there's a good chance, okay, that I don't know everything. You ever wondered? Right? So it's a good chance that I don't know everything. Okay, so just keep that at the back of your mind. All right, so yes, we're going to be covering a lot today. What I want to do right now is I want to share my screen with this bad news. This is always going to be bad news. I don't care what anybody tells you. This is bad news. I don't care who's trying to justify divorce. There's no need to justify divorce. Divorce is what it is. Sometimes it's the beginning of good things for some people. It doesn't make it not a bad experience. It doesn't make it not an undesired outcome. There's nobody that goes into marriage to want to divorce. So you're not really doing yourself a favor by lying to yourself and saying, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with divorce. No, everything is wrong with divorce. It could be the beginning of the rest of your life. Maybe it's been bad in that marriage, but you don't have to get into too much semantics and try to justify with changing meanings of words to align with your narrative. Divorce is bad. Not for you, obviously, because you're not in the marriage, but for the people that were in the marriage, it's the last thing that they want to happen. How come they don't leave? Because they don't want divorce. That's not the outcome that most people want when they go into a marriage, right? So I don't know why we end up in arguments about that. Hey, by the way, if you were on Clubhouse just now, and you saw me trolling in the chat, but anyway, I took some point. I figured that there's no point going on. I'm sorry, it's not arrogance. I'm not being arrogant, I promise you. It's just that, again, my time is worth a lot more than just arguing with people that don't have even any experience, or how should I say this? Like, even if it's bad experience, I need you to have some experience, okay? I need you, like, even if it's bad experience, at least I can adjust and say, okay, that person is coming from a place of pain, right? But anyway, it's too quiet here. I don't know if you agree. It's too quiet. So let's have a typical background music on so we can, yay, get to some work. Welcome back. Welcome back. So I'm going to read the article that's available, okay? And shout out to Glamola. Good to see you, Glamola. Good to see you. Your time over there, huh? I'll try when I can. Yeah, I just, please don't waste your time on Clubhouse. If you don't have things going on in your life that's kind of autopilot and you're just kind of trolling in and out, don't do that. It's a complete waste of time. And I have a very strong belief that a lot of people are wasting their life away. And some people say they're doing remote work and they're able to be there. Like, even that one is cap, okay? Because there's only so much you can focus if you're listening to people and you're in active arguments on Clubhouse or any audio app on Twitter Space. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So please be guided even with your time online, okay? That's why after a while now you see people go quiet with the chat. I don't judge people for that, because sometimes people are listening in the background. Social media for most people is a negative, okay? For some of us, we make money with it, but for most people it's a negative, and I want you to be guided. I don't want you to be my follower and then you go broke or you destroy your livelihood or your life because you're spending so much time on social media in general. I do think let's all be guided. All right, let me stop this thing. All right, sorry about that. So welcome back. Shout out to Eunice. Hey Eunice, good to see you. Divorce is a very painful process. It's a very, very painful process. It's legally compared to a demise. That's a fact. Somebody said, what? So the first question that I heard somebody ask today, again, I'm going to just follow the conversation that people have had today with regards to this BASKETMOUTH news. Okay, there's a good chance you're having this conversation in your head too, or you saw somebody, and I'm going to discombobulate all of them, okay? A few of them, as much as we have time, because I want to stick to time today. Since we're going to be here every day, I better stick to time, right? So it's legally, because that person said, why do people always think that divorce is a bad thing? I'm like, hello, Jeff, 14 million. It's a bad thing. We're not talking about for you that you're not in one, or for you that you've escaped one, or for you that you're trying to justify a bad past experience. We're talking about it for the people going through it right now. It's a bad experience. There's absolutely no need to justify that divorce is a bad experience. And I said, no. The person said, is it a crime? I said, no, it's not a crime. It's a form of it's a form of a demise. Okay? That's precisely what it is. That's how it feels for them, especially if they have children that they're trying to keep their home together for them. That's how it feels. So, but for a fact, and we're not talking about facts. We're talking about how it feels, because that's the only thing that actually matters at the end of the day. That fact is recorded data of feelings. Okay, it's like people already acted out. That's the fact you're looking at. Okay, in terms of learning how to operate right now, you have to understand that feelings is everything. No one cares. No one gives a shit about anything outside of their feelings. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. Okay, so shout out to Lady Navarre. Good to see you, Lady Navarre. Good to see you. It's freezing, Abi. It's from my side. Somebody please help. Is it freezing on your end? Because I'm still talking. Please let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Can you hear me loud and clear. Can you hear me loud and clear? Hey, Chinya, good to see you, Chinya. Incessant cheating has consequences. I wish their family their best. Please, I need to hear more about that, Marriott. Please tell me, because I'm about to go into it a little bit right now, but I don't really have the full gist. Please share that, okay? If you can hear me loud and clear, let me know, because somebody is saying it was freezing or something like that. Let's share the screen really quickly. Let's get into the screen. All right, we're here. We have the news, okay? BASKETMOUTH announces separation from wife. Shout out to Vanguard, okay? I use Vanguard most of the time because it's a little bit easier. But Patrick, good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's talk about this. This is an epidemic. It is an epidemic, okay? Particularly because nobody wants it. I don't care how much they are capping. Nobody wants divorce. At least nobody goes into a marriage with the expectation that, people run their mouth from time to time. They say things like, oh yeah, let's just do 2-year term, so that at 2 years we can reevaluate. Yeah, only people that are not inside of marriage talk like that. Okay, it's I see it's a joke. I get it. Okay, I completely get it. But yeah, there's no better way to tell me that you have any good experience going on in marriage, and it's not your fault. I get it. So, Nigerian comedian Bright Okpocha BASKETMOUTH, aka popularly known by his stage name, BASKETMOUTH, is a comedian, okay? A very popular. I've been to his show. He's not the funniest people ever in the world. Bovi is much more funnier than BASKETMOUTH, with all due respect. Sorry, I'm just measuring against themselves. But he's one of the finest comedians that come out of Nigeria, at least in terms of selling Nigeria to the rest of the world. They've had shows in England, shows in the United States, multiple parts of the United States, shows that people come to. So I always appreciate these guys for that's like the entertainment is one way that we figured out how to sell Nigeria to the rest of the world. So I can always appreciate that. BASKETMOUTH has ended his marriage to his wife, Elsie Uzoma Okpocha. Okay, this is them right there. Just in case you're wondering, that's them right there. Let me see if I can show a better picture. Yep, that's BASKETMOUTH. Okay, BASKETMOUTH is an Ojuyobo. Okay, if you don't know what that is, I'm sorry. Let's keep it moving, right? The wife is pretty. The 44-year-old comedian on Thursday announced the breakup with Elsie in a statement posted on his Instagram page. He said, as much as it pains me, I quote, as much as it pains me to bring my personal life to the public space, this is an unavoidable situation. Okay, now it's not avoidable for him, granted, okay? But if you haven't experienced this and you're yet to go into a marriage, it's absolutely avoidable. Listen, somebody said, but you can never know. There's no rules. There's no manual, right? Exactly. When you keep talking like that, you are literally creating your future, okay? Okay, and it's stupid for anyone to go into a marriage if it's just like that. It doesn't have manual. Why would anybody go into anything that doesn't have some kind of guide, manual? It's called a guide for a reason, meaning there's no guarantees of absolutes, but you can read this and you can have a better experience. You can have a better outcome. You can increase the chances of having better outcome. Okay. Oh no, there's no manual. Everyone is different. Okay, all right, good. Exactly. That's the result you are creating nowadays. Okay. It's a function of all the things you've been telling yourself, the stories you've been telling yourself for years, right? But of course, with everything that's going on, there's also society reasons. Okay. Anyway, after much deliberation, it's always one person that served the breakfast. It's always one person. This is a PR statement. It's cute. But it's always one person who served the breakfast first. Okay? My wife and I have made a difficult decision to end our marriage. The marriage ended long before now, by the way. Okay? It ended, she probably left long before. Somebody left long before. It could be him that left first. Maybe he impregnated somebody. Somebody left first. Long before the announcement was made. Okay? All right, that's the statement right there. Let's see. As we move forward separately, we will continue to work together to give our beautiful children all the care, love, guidance, guidance, and support they need. We humbly ask that you respect our privacy as we navigate through these times. Iwatitani. You don't have a private life, so you can't. You just announce this to the public. So sorry. We have to extract the lessons out of this. BASKETMOUTH married his wife in 2010, and they have 3 children together: Janelle, Jason, Maya Okbocha. Anyway, that's one right there. Okay, that's one right there. Really quickly, before I continue, let me just see something really quickly. It froze for Doyle a bit, but it's fine now. You're right. There was a moment that it froze. Okay, maybe once I buy a camera, I'm using literally my phone, so sometimes when a call is coming in, it freezes. I'm being honest with you. Okay. All right. Again, shout out to you, bro, Patrick. BASKETMOUTH and wife really looked great together. I know. Part of the reasons why it's sad. I feel hopeful for them, but I wish them all the best under the circumstances. Yes. Divorce is somehow torturing, torturing. At least remember, somebody's trying to run. One person is trying to hold them together. Like, it's usually never like 2 people simultaneously trying to stay together. They just can't. No, that's not how it works. Okay? Because of experience in the past, the person might have been working on it, but they are now done. Usually that's the woman. She's done. And it's going to take heaven and earth to beg her to stay. Okay? She left long before. Nowadays, we're having men leave. Okay? There's more and more men pulling the trigger on the marriage too, for arrays of different reasons. That's why we can't generalize. We have to bring it down to specific personals, okay? So now that they give us a PR statement, right? A PR statement, there's only so much we know about the details. What we're hearing, though, what I've seen the people post on Clubhouse, that he has children outside of the wedlock, and he had children out of wedlock during the marriage. Sometimes that thing will continue to haunt you for years after it happened. She will stay, but she's just never happy. The moment she gets triggered, she's going to bring it up for the rest of your life, especially if you're a man who lacks emotional intelligence. The truth is that forgiveness is hard because people lack patience, because patience is hard. Okay? Forgiveness, building trust back up, betrayal, these things, right? When after betrayal, it's extremely, the patience that's required to regain trust back is extremely, ridiculously hard. As in hard. Like it's almost impossible for a human being, but it's doable. How do I know? Because I've been there. Okay? And I've seen it in numerous occasions. But for most human beings, okay, yes, you can quote me, it's an extremely hard thing, because they're usually saying, but I did this too, but what about this one too? But after all, I begged you. This is kind of language they're using in their terrible apology. Okay? The best apology is change behavior. Okay? And if I would add on to that, zero expectations. If you have expectations around your apology, you would be disappointed, because everyone's threshold of being able to forgive is different. And the more you have unrealistic expectations around this, the more that your forgiveness, the more that your apology won't work. Okay? All right. So even if you mean well, even if your intentions, even if it's a real apology, people always say, but that apology wasn't real. No, it was real. It's just it won't work in reality, because, it's just not good enough. Okay? Because it's discounting the other person's feelings and the ability to forgive in a space where there's no generosity of patience. Extremely hard. Okay. Well, Patrick says it's very sad. BASKETMOUTH, Julius Agu, what's going on? Somebody said never measure the service against us. This is not actually, they're just people like you. For every celebrities that's divorcing, you can add 2 zeros behind it for normal people that are divorcing. Why do you think that the divorce court is in business? You know what I mean? Right? There's a lot of talking points that I want to discombobulate. Okay? All right. Let's see here. Hey, gracious greatness. I think you were here earlier. Good to see you, bro. Why in this world, cuckoo dishing breakfast up and down? I feel waiting marriage due to everybody. Yeah, it's not the marriage, it's the people. Okay? It's the people. The people, marriage is an institution. There's some things that makes it work, some things won't make it work. And it has nothing to do with good intentions or bad intention. One of the number one places where people fail is thinking that it's about good intentions or how spiritual they are. Right? The problem with that is really just semantics, because what somebody thinks is spiritual is not what the other person thinks is is spiritual. And there's a few talking points I got to get to. It's disappointing that he stepped out and left a trail of evidence he must have been intentional about. No, I don't support that though. I don't support that you should be intentional about doing the wrong thing. I think by default you're going to do the wrong thing as human beings. It's just that we're law, right? You're going to disappoint your spouse one way or the other. Some of you, the way you're going to disappoint your spouse is lack of self-awareness. Like literally, he's been suffering for years in that marriage, but he tried to communicate, but he's also trying to make you feel better, and he's building, and before you know it, it's just bad. For some of you, it's going to be you step out, you completely had a kerewa, awesome kerewa with somebody else outside of your marriage. It's the same thing at the end of the day, right? Betrayal is betrayal. It's actually worse when there's no evidence and they always continue to doubt. If they continue emotional infidelity, when they continue to wonder if you're still doing it or not, or if you've ever done it, or if it's ever led to physical, that can actually destroy the marriage faster than when they know that, okay, you've done it, so you've asked for forgiveness, you changed. It's not always true. What I'm saying is that it can be even much more destructive than when so I wouldn't say intentionally go and do something wrong, because you're going to unintentionally do what's wrong already as a default, right? If you're aware of that, you're probably going to have a better empathy, a higher level of empathy and grace when you're dealing with your spouse, right? Am I saying that the wife should have applied grace? No, not at all. That's not what I'm saying. That's not relevant to this story because I don't know the specific of this story yet, okay? The only thing I want to talk about is some of the conversation that has happened online in the past 5-6 hours since that news became viral, Discombobulate. Best apology is change behavior and hard work. Yes, and don't like detach all expectations from, like, when you apologize for you, okay? You've identified that you're holding yourself accountable. If you're apologizing because you want to manipulate the other person, is not an apology. It's going to, you're going to now think they should forgive you instantly. The expectations, right? It's not going to work, okay? If it works, to be temporary, okay? Meaning you'll be set up for additional failure, okay? I mean, he must have been intentional about it. If he has kids, oh, okay, that's what you meant. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, I think we don't know if it's intentional about it. Sometimes human beings are just weak. Just like if you committed that small white lie, sometimes you just, I'm not justifying it, but sometimes it's just the natural best thing that you think you need to do to move forward. And now, is it intentional? Was it a choice? Yes, it's a choice. Is it wrong? Yes, it's wrong. Okay, but there are many other things that lead to that moment. That's the part I want us to acknowledge. Okay, when people when people don't feel good in a relationship, they will do wrong things because all the wrong things will feel good. Okay, and then they will end up in a position where you have to question, that was a choice. I personally think that's not relevant. Of course it was a choice, but that's the smallest of your issues. Of course it's a choice. They're an adult. They made a choice to do what's wrong, right? They can't give any excuse like, oh, you made me do that. You can't do that either, because if you do that, you're saying you're not an adult, and that's false by default. All right. So there's a couple of things that a couple of statements that I think we should discombobulate. okay, with regards to this topic, because the news, let me just check if there's anything extra anywhere that we don't know, that people are, these are the facts we know, but there are rumors that somebody said incessant cheating. What do you mean by that? Did you see a rumor somewhere? I would like you to highlight that in the chat if you saw a rumor somewhere about that. Let me read this channel's news. I don't know if they have any extra information in it, but let me just share my screen really quickly, and let's see together. I'm looking at this for the first time together with you, so I can make my talking points in real time. Nigerian comedian blah 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 announced, okay, same thing, same news. It looks like it's the same news. Nothing there, right? Let me check one other place, okay, just in case. I don't want us to miss out on anything, but we never miss. We can always do what you may call it. We can always do a follow-up session. Okay. Let's see. How's everyone doing though? How's everyone doing? Pardon my manners. We have a bit to cover today. A bit of stuff to cover today. Oga. Okay. So there's not much yet. Let me just see one more place and then we'll take it from there. Okay. There's a lot of talking points I didn't create, but we definitely must destroy them today. Okay. Before we get over this, maybe in about 5 minutes, I'll be very quick, I'll be very quick because we have other stories to get to. Okay. Let's see. Let me see this one. Okay, yeah, nothing. All right. So I'm sure more will be coming out later. So for now, let me just go ahead and share some of those talking points with you. I think you will find them interesting. Okay. And I'll try to do this once in a while. I don't have time for Clubhouse, but I'll try to do this once in a while just to make sure we're on the same page. Okay. Because I need to be listening to what people are talking about out there. Let's look at this. All right. So some of these are just my way. So somebody said most of them were talking about marriage. Some people said marriage should be abolished. Okay. If somebody said marriage should be abolished, I agree 100% with them. Okay. It starts with self. If you think marriage should be abolished, you should abolish it first. By all means, please stay away from marriage. Okay. Stay away from marriage because, again, remember what I said about unintentional weary madness, where you go and get into marriage and you still mean well and you just want to this is not about marriage, it's about the people. Okay. Any institution in the world, you can enter it and mess it up as an individual, as a group of people. Okay. It's an institution, it's not a person. It doesn't have power. Okay. What you do with it is completely up to you. It's a double-edged sword. It can cut both ways deeply, meaning hurt you, meaning very painful experience to the point where you come online and you try to help other people prematurely and you're basically creating more damaged people. Okay. So if you say marriage should be abolished, I agree with you, but start with self. Stay away from marriage. If you say things like marriage doesn't have a manual, it's different from people to people, you need to stay away from marriage too, because you're telling us that you are arrogant, you're too arrogant, and you're not even going to do any research to find out why people that are having success, why. You're going to assume that people that look like they're having success, they just look like it. They're lying. It's all a lie, oh. Then they will come to God tomorrow and tell us that they're divorcing. Let me tell you something. Divorce can happen to anyone. But does that equal to they're always lying? What about yesterday they weren't lying? What made your marriage work up to the point that it worked? Are you asking questions like that? Let's say they're even divorced. Are you humble enough to say, hey, what made your marriage work for as long as 9 years? I know you're divorced, but what made it work for as long as 9 years? Right? Are you humble enough to ask that question, or are you just gonna conclude and say, no, listen, if you conclude, guess what? If you conclude, you know what time it is, right? If you conclude that it should be abolished and it doesn't work and it's different and there's no manual and nobody has all the answers, if you're saying things like this, which are not necessarily wrong,
you're right.
You're right, but you should stay. You probably will have a better deal staying away from marriage in general. Because again, it's stupid to get into anything where there's no guide, especially if the thing is supposed to take a whole chunk of your life, especially if children are going to come into that situation and they bought into something else, but now it's different. Just stay away from marriage. Now, on the flip side of it, if you think that there's got to be some, it's not absolute, but something that makes it work when it does work, then by all means, you're welcome. It's really not that hard. It's not that. If you think it should be abolished, it should be abolished, but start with self. Just don't get into marriage. Stay away. Oh, by the way, that means don't sleep with people too, because if you end up around, you're doing career with randoms, you're going to end up in a divorce court and come back and be telling us terrible stories. Because gentlemen, you will be dragged. You will collect inside of divorce court. And you will come back here and be complaining to us. And you say, no, it's not really complaining. You're just speaking your mind. No, it's complaining, my nigga. It is. It is complaining. You don't get to decide if it's complaining. I decide if it feels like complaining on my end. My opinion is not necessarily the absolute truth either. But if enough people are telling you this is complaining, maybe you should pay attention. Maybe you should pay attention. Okay? So I went for it and said, this has nothing to do with marriage. It has everything to do with understanding how quality romantic relationships work. If you have a good underlying relationship, you can take the credit, okay, for having a good marriage, regardless of what people are saying on social media. Okay, you can. Let me go to the next one really quickly. Somebody said, just think 1 + 1. And, and then I said, oh my shield. Please don't say that to yourself. 1 + 1 is not equals to 2 in marriage, okay? Why? Can somebody tell me why? Okay? 1 + 1 is not equals to 2 in marriage. Don't do yourself. If you think that way, stay away from marriage. It won't work. Will it work? It won't work for you. Especially if you have good intentions. Even especially for you. It's not the fault of the good intentions. Good intentions are great for a reason. They are good for a reason. For you, it doesn't factor in there's another human being involved. We may not necessarily be doing the wrong thing intentionally. It doesn't factor that in. 1 + 1 doesn't work. X and Y factors are everywhere. The Bible calls it you fight not the flesh. You thought that was all spiritual. No, you don't fight humans. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that's happening. And if you're not patient enough to listen actively, could it work? Stay away from marriage. Don't do yourself like that. I'm telling you, listen, what's the point if you're going to get into marriage and then divorce later? You're just creating more damages. But I know I made it hard by saying you shouldn't do career too. Okay, you can do career responsibly. Okay, I understand you're human. Okay, I get it. But there's a good chance you'll collect. I'm so sorry. That's what's going on. Okay, what is going on exactly? So people were the question was like, why are marriages going to be left and right? The answer is simple. What makes it complicated is us. We. Do me a favor, hit that like button right now if you're getting value out of this. Please, thank you. Hit that like button. Okay? Hit that like button if you're getting value out of this. Yes, BASKETMOUTH has called it quits with his wife. He got served breakfast. He's just making the announcement. Something happened, okay? Something happened. A lot of people are already talking already. Some people say he's a serial cheater. Their lifestyle, if you're always on the road, it makes it a little bit harder. Somebody said, but you should have self-discipline. That's precisely what I'm saying. It makes self-discipline a little bit more harder, okay? Like, it's a little bit more difficult when you have to be on the road, like a rock star with ladies all over the place all the time. Yes, women, ladies, you go collect. Because unless it's, if he's a straight man, then it's women that are doing whatever he's doing with him, okay? But that's not relevant, by the way. Let me see here. Why are marriages crumbling? The answer is very simple. The answers that people are giving are terrible, right? But the answer is very simple. Okay, some of you have been following this long enough and you already know the answer. I'm looking for it on the banner so I can post it. Let me find it. Okay, the answer is actually very simple. It's number 3 and 4. Okay, it's number 3 and 4. Somebody said, but all these men are cheaters. What would make a man continue to cheat when he knows he has a wife that he cares about that he wouldn't want to lose? It's pride now. What would make him think that, oh, she's not going anywhere if he cheats? Unrealistic expectations. Especially in 2022, she can leave. And she will be empowered by monitoring spirits all over social media to leave. All right? Oh no, but it's all these modern women. They don't stay. They don't stay through the struggle. If marriage is work. Yeah, you say that more than you're learning anything about marriage. Marriage is work. What if I tell you it's not work for me? Right? What if I told you that the work you've been doing, the job that you have, your daily job that you've been doing for the past 10 years doesn't feel like work anymore? Would that be such a stretch for you to comprehend? What if I tell you that if you do something long enough, if you enjoy doing it, it doesn't feel like work anymore? Is something not feeling like work a real thing for you? Do you understand that? Can you comprehend that? Do you realize that you talk more about marriage being work than you're learning anything about marriage? See, repeating that marriage is work from your pastor is not working on understanding marriage. It's just not. What you're doing is you're scaring yourself and everybody else away from one of the greatest institutions that's the cornerstone of our society as we know it today. You can create all new rules all you want, but you're going to, create new standards, but you're going to have to create new rules around those standards. And clearly you're not ready. You're just ready to point fingers at the other gender. Small, dear, easy. Because last like, I'm telling you, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Okay? It's not lack of friendship, lack of sex. Those are symptoms to a large extent, but expectations and pride at the very core. These are just the 4 things that I want you to focus on mastering. Okay? With respect to your particular story, that part you can say, yeah, it depends on people's story, but there are guides out there. Talk to your grandparent. The polygamist. Talk to him. He has the secret. He has the secret. But no, there's no manual. You keep telling yourself it's work. You keep telling yourself there's no manual. You keep telling yourself all the reasons why there's no normal human being who has options in 2022. There's no logical reason for them to engage marriage if that's all you keep telling yourself. Or even when they try to engage, when they see a little, somebody called it shaggy earlier. When they see a little shaggy, they're discombobulated, they're ready to run. Because it's all unrealistic expectations on yourself. Even in business, you have to sell people what it feels like when it's good. You don't focus on the negative because it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the business owner stay in business. It doesn't help the person that needs your value buy into your value. It's just stupid. But we should just tell them the truth. No, it's not the truth. It's your discombobulated form or version of the truth. You're focused on what you're focused on because of your personal experience. You're not learning anything. All right, so let me see what y'all are talking about. I'm a little on fire today, Let's see. All right. All right. So okay, let's get back to. I want to engage what you guys are talking about because that's always the best. There have been rumors for years of him stepping out. That's what people are saying. If that's the case, Ojo Bobontole, Ojo Komba Inotonikon. One day is for the thief. Sorry, every day is for the thief. One day is for the owner. Okay. Another way we say that is Yoruba people. Yoruba people has adages for days. Tiraban Lolo Godu, one day. You don't have to help the truth. It will catch up. It will catch up. Okay. You can say, "Oh, I'm just telling the truth." No, you're not. You're lying through your teeth, maybe unintentionally. The truth is a function of time and the reality. That's it. You can't tell me you're telling the truth Me too, I'm lying right now, okay? I'm talking from my filters. Do you get it? All right, so how do we get people to understand they can lose their families being reckless out there? People, they have to feel. The way we can do that is that they have to feel it. They don't have to experience it, but they have to feel they have to experience what it feels like to hit rock bottom. Okay? Some people don't have to personally experience it. Most people have to personally experience it. Okay? They have to experience what it feels like to hit rock bottom. Rock bottom for everyone is different from people to people. That part is where you can say, oh yeah, it's very tough. But what I said earlier is a rule of life. If people don't feel or experience what it feels like to hit rock bottom, they're not listening. They can't listen. They're making up their own story as they go along and they call it truth. Okay? That's just how it works, okay? People don't change their behavior unless they experience pain, pleasure, okay? At least from a level of feelings, right? If they feel like it's going to be painful, they change. They gravitate away from it. If they feel like it's going to be a form of relief or pleasure, it attracts them. Feelings, okay? Not necessarily, quote unquote, reality or fact. Sometimes it's the wrong thing. Sometimes they would justify it with Bible or anything. There's more than enough verses in the Bible to justify bullshit. Nothing is wrong with the Bible. The Bible is my best book ever. But it's subject to people's interpretations. People interpret it how they want. So I see lots of Obodo fam. We're Obodo fam here now, of course. We're the Prestige fam, but we're all Obodo fam here as well. Good to see all of them. Hello, Miss Alamudo. Good to see you. I remember when he was planning to marry, he had 2 serious babes. Oh. It's a typical story. Some people get away with it, some don't get away with it. Some think they get away with it, they never really get away with it. They pay in other ways. Nobody gets away with nothing in life. Even if your ordinary lie is your sin is ordinary lie or white lie, you don't get away with it. Life, balance, but no balance at the same time. One of the talking points that, we gotta find balance. Somebody said, if a woman hits him, that it will knock him out, and say we have to think balance. That's not balance. You will end up in jail before her. Life, no balance. Don't deceive yourself. Don't deceive yourself. This is another thing, another reasons why you should stay away from marriage. If your focus is looking for balance, stay away from marriage. Work. Remember, focus. If your focus is looking for balance, right? Work. If your focus is give and take, I know I just shattered the table at this point. If your focus is give and take, you're a liar. You're focused on take, not give. You're focused on take. You're just saying it out as give and take. Stay away from marriage. Work. It's not going to work. Okay? All right, let's keep going. And the family like the other one, but he insisted, he has 2 serious babes, and the family like the other one, but he insisted he preferred this one. Now 11 years later, yeah. We don't know the details, but everybody collects last. Okay, we're not perfect. That's what really that means, by the way, right? But when you are aware, it's half of this battle we call life won. Okay, if you think it's your perfection or how intentional, I tell you, you go collect every day of the week. Good intentions, just be a good man. That's your bare minimum for yourself. That's something you're supposed to be for yourself. You're doing that because you want marriage. You're going to think you're too good for the other person. It's pride. It's pride. Last. Listen, you can't mock God. You can't deceive God. You're a human being like the rest of us. Anyway, let's continue. I had this first-hand info because his late aunt was my colleague. Thank you so much for that, Ice. Thank you so much. Yes. So if he had 2 families and he's still moving the same way he's moving to create those 2 families, it's a matter of time. And the longer you wait before the marriage discombobulates, the harder it's going to feel, the more painful it's going to be. This is why divorce is not ultimately a bad thing, but in that moment, the people going through it is bad. Don't justify that, okay? Because if you don't acknowledge your pain, you can't heal, okay? Brother, I notice people just feel I have gotten all in marriage. Let me regain my freedom. A lot of Nigerian men feel that way. And I think it's a natural, I went through that myself, okay? There's this feeling, like shortly after you get married, that overwhelms you. It's sometimes direct, sometimes it's indirectly, okay? It's not something that you decide to do, but it's natural. You feel like, well, this is going to be the rest of my life. Sometimes you're like, yes, of course. You're like that person, but you're putting that same expectation on the other person, and the other person's like, no, like, bro, go and brush your teeth first in the morning. And you're like, wait, you never used to say that. It comes in all kind of ways, right? It comes in very, very subtle ways. It doesn't always come in the form of, oh, she's ready to leave and take all my money, like most of them talk. No, that's not how. It's like little things here and there that adds up, okay? But because of that little resentment from that mild stuff, you take it to that next level. That's how it usually works. So yes, it's going to happen to all of us. It's just that sometimes it's direct, sometimes it's indirect, sometimes it's very subtle things, right? It's just being human, right? But when you are aware, you have that little moody feeling that went through you or that's gone through you, you're able to catch yourself and say, oh, all right, let me apply. When you say let me apply grace, right? Not for something crazy like you just had a baby out on me, right? But like those mild things that actually take people to the divorce court, most people, right? You're able to apply small grace here and there, you know. Marriage is hard. It needs commitment of both partners. Trust, faithfulness, forgiveness, and not giving up on each other. If one of you throws in the towel, it's done. Yes. By the way, the last part of the statement is the most valid part of it. Even if you throw in the towel indirectly, even if you don't realize you're doing it, like when you start to get tired of the other person, like small little things, like I was saying, right? But you don't realize you're doing it. But it's not the way you used to show up. Again, it's a natural thing. You're not supposed to show up every day like you did when you were in love, right? It's just unrealistic expectations of a human being. All right? Does that mean you should accept and settle for less? No, I say you should be aware. Be aware. You can't really change this anyway. The one thing you can change is being here right now in this moment, and you're not aware that we are all human beings. Oh, but Ola, you don't talk about all those terrible, extreme stories where somebody pied the other husband at night, because it's not majority of you. It's not majority of your story. And at least based on what we know right now, there's a good chance about 50% of you will end up in divorce. Reality. I don't want to paint reality like that, but I'm also painting the other side. You can be aware, and after the battle is won, you let everyone else that's not here right now, let them deal with that terrible statistics. Because you are aware that you are married to a human being. They need grace. They need to be understood. They need to be heard. Yes, even if it's a man, they need to be heard, right? They need to feel significant. They need these 6 things. Well, somebody said, but I don't owe them that. That's why you should stay away from marriage. If you're saying, but I don't owe them happiness. Listen, while that is a true statement, I'm warning you, while that is a true statement, remember.
You're right.
While that's a true statement, be guided on the kind of stories you're telling yourself. Be guided. Be guided on the kind of stories you're telling yourself. Be guided, because these stories are going to become life in a way that you didn't expect. Okay? It is. Now, let me get back to it. You know, these are the things that you will influence. You're not controlling it. Yes, you're not giving them happiness, but your presence in that person's life is going to influence these things. These are the 6 human needs. Basic human needs, emotional needs. At least even if you don't give it, if your presence is taking these things away from the other person, listen, they're going to do the wrong things, including destroying your marriage for you. Rightfully so. Why did you say rightfully so? I don't know. We live in a world, just like 8 billion people in this world. You think you create the rules? Certainty. If the way you move doesn't make them feel secure, yes, a man will be insecure. And yes, he would deny he's insecure because he doesn't want to admit he's insecure. It makes him feel weak. Of course, he's not going to use his mouth to say I'm insecure, right? Nobody's going to say that or have low self-esteem. Most people don't do that. But they will have it, and they will use it to destroy your marriage, and they won't admit to it. Even worse, right? Variety. They can't be bored. Yes, you're right. Women don't want to stay in a boring marriage. Are you kidding? You know why, meaning? Of course they don't want to stay in a boring, or they leave after they claim they're bored. Yes, rightfully so. Yes. You know why it's rightfully so? Because it's the truth across the world, across the board. So if you're a boring person, you open your big stomach up when you come back from work, you sit in the same spot every day watching, and you forget that she exists, even if she only feels it, and even if it's a lie, because I know you're going to tell me she's lying. I took her on a date night yesterday. Even if that, yes, it's a wrap. If you don't understand that awareness, I'm just making you aware. That's all. If you make your spouse feel less than, wait, you didn't make them feel less than, forget. I'm sorry, Emma Binu. I'm sorry, gone. If around you, they tend to feel less than, you will collect. If you're not the one who edifies your spouse the most, if the second guy over there in that WhatsApp group is edifying your wife or edifying your husband more than you will collect. Oh, this it's really this simple. Yeah, it's this simple, but it's not simple because they're emotional, right? It's all over the place. We don't even know what make them. So how do you? One of the most profound statements I noticed somebody made earlier today is saying, you don't learn about marriage from here on YouTube. You learn it from your spouse. Sometimes you need help because you don't know how to learn it from your spouse. You don't know how to actively listen to your spouse. So you need help. In reality, you're going to learn it from them. All right. Connection. Once you start complaining and say, I just don't feel connected. Oti collect, you're served breakfast. She may be saying it 5 years before she actually pulls the trigger. But what does that mean? Man, what is connection? We're here together every day. We had Kiriwal yesterday. That's your problem. That's your problem right there. Because you're talking too much. You're not listening enough. Growth. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of women saying this too. If they don't feel like they're growing with you, it's a basic human need. If your man feels like being around you is basically stunting his growth, it's feeling. I'm not talking about fact. Fuck facts. I'm talking about feelings. They just feel it. It's actually a lie. Your marriage will collect. Okay? Half the battle is won when you're aware. So what's the solution? Half the battle is won when you're aware. You don't put yourself on that pedestal that you think you're the only factual and logical one. You will fall. Because you're clearly not logical. You're not factoring there's another human being involved. You're not logical. You're lying to yourself. Remember I told you we all lie. All of us. We tell lies. All right. So let me get back to... Let's get back here really quickly. Jesus. I have other stories to cover, but we'll see what we can do. This is why I say I can't, This is why I said I have to do every day. It's too much content to cover, and I can't come my boil inside. Trying to get back to where we're. Okay. So marriage is hard. Brother Patrick, I'm sure Brother Patrick will understand me. I'm trying to push against this marriage is hard rhetoric. I would rather focus on life is hard. Welcome to the real world. Yes, life is hard. Okay, so anything that's worthwhile in life is going to be difficult until you master some skills. Okay, there's a lot of people are repeating that out of context. I understand what it means that marriage is hard. It's just because life is hard. It's just because anything that's worthwhile will take work, patience, process. Yes, it's going to be hard as hell, right? But a lot of people are misconstruing that phrase out of context, right? They're using they're using to spouse that you're supposed to stay in this because marriage is hard. No. Remember I told you, you want to collect, keep saying that to yourself. They won't stay if it feels hard. To an extent, yes, they can do duty and responsibility for a while. It's 2022. An average human being, not just women, will not stay in what is hard long enough. Because why? There's options all over the place on Google. They're not going to stay there for you because you say it's duty and responsibility. They have options. They have options. Okay? So yes, because life is hard, marriage is hard, but that's how anything that's worthwhile, anything that's highly rewarding, yes, what you're talking about is it requires skills. Something I call game. You need game. Women, you need game. to retain your husband. It's not going all that duty. He's supposed to. That's bare minimum. He's supposed to take care of his kids. That's lack of game that make you talk that way. You lack game. You disconnected from your seduction powers. You're busy on focused on take. You just want to take. After all, that's what you're supposed to do. You have zero sense of gratitude. You think you deserve what is happening to you right now. You don't realize that you're one of 400 million sperm cells. You didn't have to be here. If you could have even made it here and they will throw you in the garbage. How about that? Lead with gratitude. GPS. God, gratitude, purpose, self. If you're leading with entitlement, you attract what you fear the most. You will destroy everything you ever care about in life. Let's keep going. People give up easily. Yeah, because there's options. Now, Isaiah, you're a woman. You could say that. Men can't afford to say that. People will give up easily all the time around you if that's what you're focused on. It's just the reality. They're supposed to give up easily when there's options or illusion of options on Google everywhere. All they have to do is be like this on WhatsApp. And there's some random loser, he's a loser too, by the way, tweeting her on the other side and she feels better. And then, is it that simple? Well, if she accounts for all the ways you've made her feel up to that point where she's even that open because the other person is making her feel hurt, that's why he could penetrate. When a woman feels hurt, you can penetrate her in every sense, spiritually, physically, right? In everything, anyway, emotionally. But if she doesn't feel hurt, legs closed. You don't collect be that. This thing's how it plays out on the two different sides of the gender is different a little bit, but they're kind of like the same thing. Value. What do people value? Nothing outside of their feelings. If you continue to tell yourself that it's something else, not only will you fail in business, you'll fail in relationships too. You may be succeeding right now as a matter of time. Okay? Go and ask Wendy Williams. How successful was she for years? For years upon years. What happened last? Yeah, so don't come and tell me some premature anything. Like I said, all of us will collect it. But when you're aware, you can have a better experience of life. You know? People give up easily. They crave freedom and peer pressure that divorced women are balling while the men can date any type of age. Yeah, that's false. It's false. There's nothing on the streets. There's nothing in the streets. Okay? Your best options, unless we're talking about something physical, somebody raised their hands on you. Okay? Somebody said, don't say that. What about emotional and verbal? I said, well, all of that, you have to engage it for it to happen to you. Okay? I'm not blaming you. I'm not victim shaming. Oh, no, sorry. Actually, you're right. I forgot. If that's how you interpret what I just said.
Oh, you're right.
The only thing I will aggressively tell you to leave your marriage for is if somebody think it's okay for them to raise their hands. For any form of the misusefulness, right? You should leave. It's okay. If you feel that way, if you feel like it's getting there, leave. It doesn't have to be a permanent decision. I'm still on that point. But if you think that running away from your problems is the end, you're giving your problem away to other people, gentlemen, you will collect. If you are the kind of person that give your problem to other people and it's not accompanied with solutions, you're a loser. You're losers, basically. No, it's not my problem, it's their problem. Problems that you experience is your problem. Never give it away. Never, ever give it away. That's being literally stupid. You don't understand life if you're doing that. Oh, but yeah, listen, let me just leave it alone. Because I'm going to stay on this topic today. Okay? I'll stay on it for as long as I need to stay on it. Because I think it's important. Okay? We're going to be back here at 5 p.m. tomorrow anyway. Okay? With the other stories. All right, so people give up easily. That's true, but it's the reality. It's not something as a human race, we don't get to complain about that. Yes, it's complaining. If they give up easily, they give up easily. If you are addressing the person that gives up easily, yes, you can tell them like, hey, you give up too easily. But if you're complaining that people give up easily, you need to reflect. You need to look in the mirror. Why do people keep giving up on me? That's something you have to look in the mirror and talk to yourself about. You don't look at, if all your employees, even in the corporate world, which is a terrible analogy always, even if all of them are quitting on your business, you don't get to say, why all of you quitting? They already quit. You're a loser already. You need to look in the mirror and say, wow, people quitting on me. But that's not fair. Exactly. I didn't disagree with that. Of course it's not fair. Of course it's not.
You're right.
Oh, Kerewa responsibly kwa, Abi. Conjina bastard. I'm just saying, I don't do religious talks here, so as long as it's within the standard of your particular faith, do you, as long as you're being responsible, right? And you know me, I push against do you as well. Be guided. So you don't self-destruct. Because I'm telling you, it's dangerous out there. Something happened that he has to decide divorce. Divorce is not supposed to be an option, and even if then, the last. Yeah, it's probably just tired, He could be tired, somebody's tired, somebody gave up, we'll find out. Because like you said, it's not the first time that they have stories like this in his family. And people will stay in that situation for life too. Why? Because there's something they're getting there, even if it's not 100%. There's a reason why people stay. There's some kind of emotional need being filled when people stay. Or what about Stockholm Syndrome? Well, I mean, you agree with me, okay? Stockholm Syndrome is value. It's terrible, toxic, but it is what it is, right? You're missing my point. People stay because they're getting something. When you understand that it's not your good, stupid, regular, mortal, good intentions, when you understand that, you go there another. You're still human though, because everybody go collect, but you're better off. When you think it's good or bad intentions, when you're focused on that, there's a good chance that you haven't been good to yourself. Actually, I'll tell you that right now. Okay, there's a good chance that you're beating yourself up. Okay, you're swimming against the trend. Human beings don't care about anything outside of their feelings. They just don't. They don't. That's just the fact of life. And when you understand this, you're able to give, focus on giving in a relationship. What does that mean? You're able to receive in folds. You even be receiving, you won't realize you're receiving yet, because you're so focused on giving. You know it as a formula that it works all the time. Not only that, you've experienced it, so you know how to repeat it. But when you're focused on give and take, it's take you are focused on. Don't take me out of context. Give and take, give and take, give and take. I mean, listen, you hear it everywhere. Marriage is hard, marriage is working. You hear it everywhere. And waiting they happen, they still end up in divorce. We need to start telling ourselves different stories. Okay? There's some things that are timeless. One of them is that human beings only care about their feelings. Are they selfish? Bingo! Welcome to the rest of the world. Does that mean they can't be selfless? They will be selfless when they feel like they will lose you if they are not selfless. Do you get it? Does that make sense? They will become selfless when they know that selfless is the way for them to receive your awesomeness. They won't want to let you go. It's a marketplace. It's an active marketplace at all times. It may seem like there's a lagging indicator. It doesn't. But we can't. But he did this yesterday. That's because you're counting only yesterday. What about all of those years you've been together? What about all of those years that you were alone, that you learned all those terrible habits? Okay, let's stay focused here. Thank you, Brother Patrick. Society put the weight on women, saying that a woman builds their home. Yeah, a woman builds a home from the tone you set. She has nothing to build a home with if you are trash. She has nothing. Women don't carry seeds. They carry eggs that's waiting. A few of them that become nations. When you bring something to the table, you keep asking women for what they bring to the table. Let's see what your life turn out to be. You tell me, you come back in 10 years and tell me, I'll be right here by the grace of God. You come and tell me, what do you bring to the table? Asking women that question, we'll see where it leads you. Okay? But confusing that the woman being responsible for making the marriage work, which is not true. No. Women don't bring anything to the table. They multiply. The woman is the incubator. With respect to marriage, they're the incubator. They receive, multiply, and reciprocate in folds. If you're stuck on this, you bring to the table, you will collect. You will miss out. You will miss out, big deal. You will lose a lot. Matter of fact, you're already losing already. That's probably why you're talking like that. It's okay. Okay, but you can change that mindset. Okay, you can change that mindset. Oh, this is not fair. You're not making women to be adults. See, you're asking people to be adults. What's next? You're going to be asking your little 12-year-old to start donating $50 because everyone eat at least. Why are you taking care of those children? Why? Right? They eat too, right? Why? All right. They need to teach our men better. That's why we're here. We want to share. Okay, some things are working for some of us. Okay, and they are consistent. They are principles that are timeless. And you can look at any story in the Bible. There's nowhere in the Bible where the responsibility for sowing seeds goes to the woman. It's just stupid. It's weak men. It's the weak man syndrome. That's just where we are. That's not shaming you. I'm telling you where you want to avoid. You want to not be that person because you collect. I'm telling you right now. Okay. But when are you going to hold women accountable? ATD, I swear. Let's keep going. Both partners are responsible for the commitment in marriage. Yeah, commitment in the mud. Let's leave all that commitment stuff alone. Let's Google, okay? All that commitment talk, leave them alone. You don't know what the hell you're committing to when you go. I don't care who you are. When you go on that altar, you have no idea what you're committing to. It's unrealistic expectations at best. The best you can get out of a commitment is maybe you can write it. How many people do you know actually go and read it when they get back home? How many people do you know? They read it to shame each other. They read it to manipulate each other. If they ever do. No, I'm more righteous. You're not following our commitment. No, never mind that she doesn't feel safe and secure around you, but she's just not committed to you. Should you be committed? Yes. You're right. But it's one of the biggest unrealistic expectations that we say, till death do us part. That's actually, that statement by itself is one of the reasons why a person will feel smothered inside of their marriage, because they really want to escape, but they're trying to hold on. But the longer they wait, the more painful that breakfast is going to feel. Because you collect last. So what am I talking about right now? Don't commit. No, you can commit. Because I think it's a good mark. I think it's a good ceremonial thing when you enter into marriage. But the work just started. The commitment is second by second. Every second. It's not commitment to manipulate the other partner. It's commitment to give them grace. To give like your life depends on it, because it actually does. If you are committed to holding each other accountable, well, let me remind her all the time that this is supposed to be give and take. You will collect. Because she will do all the wrong things when it feels right. She's a human being, and vice versa. Okay? Even he has more freedom to misdo. Listen, BASKETMOUTH is going to be fine. The person that's probably going to collect the most here is probably the wife. But guess who is probably going to be breadwinner in that house? Ladies, you're not exonerated from this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay? When you liked a man, you made all these rules I'm setting for manhood, you made it a little bit easier for him. It was a little bit easier for him to be a man. It was a little bit easier for him not to come off as insecure when you like him. You made it simple and easier for him. But those moments where you start to feel like somebody is robbing you off, those moments where you feel like he doesn't respect me enough in front of his mother, he starts to collect in those moments, and he doesn't realize it because he's just a man. Like, people don't fall out of the skies with what I'm sharing with you. You have to hit rock bottom to have a chance of comprehending what I'm talking about. Like, even if you know it's in paper, it's another thing to be able to comprehend it, because you need real life examples. That's why that's the whole need for having the experience of feeling like you hit rock bottom. That's why it's needed, because then it will make sense, like, to connect, right? But when people still have options and choices, they feel like, no, I'll leave that woman alone. Like, let them get away with it, I'm telling you, yeah, Yes, share. Please go ahead and share. Shout out to all 42 people. If you're here watching us live, we're live, yes, right now at 6:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I promise we're gonna have tons of videos still. I have a way I've been inspired. We have a way that we're still going to have tons of videos because there's a lot of stuff right now that we're talking about. All right, so let's see. I want to continue because again, you guys are dropping some gem for me to really engage. Let's see here. All right, gender war is on. All right, so for some reason it's always about gender war. Yeah, that's the blame thing. So people it's easier. Somebody said, it's not easy to divorce. I said, actually, it's easier to divorce. I understand it's not easy to divorce. It's easier to divorce than to be aware that, it's easier to judge other people, right? It's easier to condemn. It's easier to shame other people, to blame people, to find out whose fault is it. It must be somebody's fault. It's never self. It's never holding self accountable. It must be holding someone accountable. Or better yet, let's blanket everybody together so that you feel like we're just talking about the community. It's cap all the time. 100% of the time when people talking about community, it's cap. They're talking about self. They're trying to hold someone accountable in their past. They probably don't have access right now, but let me just hold all the women accountable because it's in there. It's cap. 100%. That's my opinion. And you can look around you, start paying attention to what I just said. It's cap. It's personal. Because it starts from personal. It's the personals that become a community. And what did we learn just now about women? Women is the product of the men in the society. If the status of women is bad in society, congratulations. Look in the mirror and clap for yourself. Especially if you're ready to run away to another country to go and take advantage of their women over there. Whatever that means. Right? You probably will get finessed. Because there are women over there for that. They are like that for a reason. But anyway. I don't have grandparents. What did I say about grandparents? Oh, well, we have this channel, because I learned from my grandparents. I learned from my granduncle. I'm that curious guy. Sometimes it's years upon years of me being curious that you're hearing, okay? That's what it is, I'm the curious one. I'm the one who wants to know. I was telling my kids yesterday, I said, do you know 200, can you tell me 200 years worth of your history? And like 200 years, I'm only 12. I said, no, you are 12, but you have more than 200 years worth of history. Can you tell me? And kids are different from people to people, but I'm that curious guy. So that's what you're seeing right now. Ask questions. Yeah, because it's blame game. It's blame, shaming, insults, guilt. The need to be right. I need to be right. Everybody else must be wrong. That's what that is. So you will continue to see it. When you see it, disengage. Because you're responsible for what you engage, okay? Disengage. They can't argue with themselves or make them argue with themselves. How about that one? Okay. They probably will stop after a while, okay? Instead of gender war, both genders should learn about each other. Facts. That's true, right? Knowing everything about your own gender doesn't help you. You're not trying to do business with your own gender if you're a typical person, right? You're trying to do business. Someone said, but it's not business, it's relationship. See, semantics is destroying marriage too. Oyibo, at Yazent, is destroying marriages. Now Oyibo, we they hear everywhere. Nobody they talk real sense. Something as simple, Mama Igbiraga, nobody they talk normal sense like that anymore. Everybody is just so learned, they can articulate. Oyibo is on. People find it difficult to unlearn and learn. It's very difficult. That's the whole point. That's why it's highly rewarding. When it's that difficult, that's probably where you should be engaged. But if you say marriage is hard, well, that's probably why you should get into marriage. Because the most growth you're going to experience is going to be pulled out. Because crisis is going to happen. And guess who you want to blame first? The other person. And then guess who's going to collect for that behavior? You. Guess who's going to learn fast enough and say, oh, I need to learn how to hold myself accountable, because if I'm focused on holding my spouse accountable all the time, keyword being focus, you're not growing, right? Oh, by the way, they will start to feel a sense of resentment. Why? Because they're not an adult? No, because they're a human being and they're a child. I said they're a child. She's a child. He is a child because he and she is a child because this is romantic relationship. Their feelings is driving everything. Even when they know they are wrong, it just feels some type of way. Remember? Some type of way. It just like, even when, why is it hard for them to apologize when they just know they're wrong? Because God tell me, why am I apologizing all the time? But hey, you're supposed to give and give and give. Now, all I said, give and give. Is it that simple when it comes to real life? No, it's going to be hard. That's why I'm saying it, because I want it to become second nature to you so you can remember when that moment comes. It's going to be one of the hardest things you have to do to feel like, you know what? I'm sorry for making you feel that way earlier, but I didn't make her feel that way. Thank you for telling me that you're useless in your marriage. Because, I mean, if you can't make your partner feel some type of way, maybe you're just useless. You do make them feel some type of way. It's going to happen. It's not an indictment. It's just reality. Sometimes you're caught up in your feelings. You're doing your thing. You don't realize it. It's completely intentional. But now they feel some type of way because you're in their space. You're breathing too hard. You snore too loud. God damn it. Oh, I can see BASKETMOUTH stepping out. He seems very slight. Eunice, judgment. Eunice, why now? People look like they can step out. Jesus Christ. Learning is for a lifetime and key to existence. Thank you. One of the things that they keep telling themselves is like, oh, vet. Listen, bare minimum, yeah, you should obviously vet. You should obviously vet. But vetting doesn't end. It doesn't end. You don't vet and suddenly you're exonerated from a terrible marriage. That's how you collect. Right there. That's unrealistic expectations. People will change. Okay? People will change. Okay? People will change. That's the reality. People will change. They will. They evolve. You made them change. Oh, they just change. Whatever reasons why they change, they will change. There is no 2 consecutive days that you are the same person. How much more a lifetime? It doesn't make sense. This is unrealistic expectations. So what's the solution? Pay goddamn attention. Learn how to listen actively to the people that you love. If you love them that much, continue to pay attention to them. Listen actively. What makes them tick? Oh, they change. What if you engage like, oh, I've never seen that before. How many of you have been married long enough and like, I've never seen you do that before? That happens all the time. So what makes you think people are not going to change? Oh, because you're going to cohabitate, so they will never change. Somebody said, let's cohabitate. I said, see? Stupidness. Cohabitate so that you can find out all you need to find out about them. See? That's how you collect. Now you build even more expectations because you thought you knew them. But in real life, you don't know shit. You don't know yourself. You don't even know yourself. You don't even know yourself until you are 10 years inside of marriage. But you want to know a person in cohabitating for 2-3 years. And then you wonder where there's divorce everywhere. Because you're telling yourself all these stupid story and narratives. You got to bring it all the way down. Come back from the accents. And all those big English words, come all the way back down. Why is somebody wanting to be around you in this moment? Focus on now, the present. Why would they go to work and they can't wait to come home to see you? Ask those questions. Because they're an evil person, now look in the mirror and say, how did that attract an evil person? First, before you blame them. Maybe they're really just outrightly evil and they're just out to get you. But before you get to that space, maybe you should ask yourself first, how did that attract? What was it that was? What is it that about me that will attract an evil person? Is that an indictment? Does that feel like I'm blaming you already? Exactly. That's the problem. That's the problem. This is not relevant to blame. Everyone go collect in one shape, form, or the other, at one level or the other. People find it difficult to unlearn and unlearn. Yeah. I tried making a guy understand something so he learned a new thing, but he said never he held to his ignorance. Yes, please don't. People are not going to hear you if they're not. Yeah, they won't hear you if they haven't experienced what rock bottom feels like to them. They can't listen. Okay, that's why you too don't beat yourself up. Don't be a captain saver. You know what? Don't do that to yourself. Either you're a man or woman. You're not a therapist. Okay, you're not a therapist. Ladies, you can vet for yourself. Okay, gentlemen, you have to shine your eyes for the rest of your life. Not just, oh, let me live with her for 2 years so I can know everything. That's stupid. That's just being stupid. You're telling us you don't have any value. Okay, why would a woman just move in with you? That means you have no options. Welcome to the real world. She will treat you accordingly. She will treat your fuck up. And when it happens, you find out later that, oh, she's just a woman like the rest of them, even though you cohabitated, is that an English word, for 3 years. Or even worse, it never led to marriage. Now you have 2 kids, you have to pay child support. You see how stupid that really starts to become very easily? Okay. All right. So, as I just said here, learn a new thing. I always say, when you're confused, it's time to learn a new thing. You know what this generation of people are doing these days? When they're confused, they start to teach each other. The blind start to lead the blind. That's what's going on everywhere. Just look around you. You'll see it, okay? Like, you will see it everywhere, okay? Just look around you. Come and tell me later when you see it, okay? If the Bible is used to justify crime, why should a person get into marriage knowing that we are human beings who have fallen short? That's a fantastic question, okay? That's a fantastic question. The Bible is used to justify crime. The Bible is whole, but the Bible is subjected, like I said earlier, to our understanding, our filters, how we interpret it, right? So what I always tell people, one of my biggest fears is that I know too much, okay? I never want to be in that space where I feel like I know too much. But unfortunately, I have to balance that out with, if I have a gift, I have to keep sharing. So the way I do that is I say, hey, just an idea. Rub minds together. Let's see, maybe, because you know your life. I don't know your life. There may be reasons why you think how you think, but maybe also when I receive insight from you, I learn a little bit more, right? When I first started creating content around this type of stuff about 2 years ago, I was a little bit arrogant about how I came about it. I didn't really listen all the way, right? I had answers, but it wasn't with respect to people's problems, right? And also, that's also an indication that I wasn't paying attention in real time. I may have answers, but those answers have to evolve with time, with the time you live in, with the context that you're trying to use those answers in. You can't just take a solution from another company and come and plug it in another company, right? Without listening to what's going, like having a meeting with the C-suite, having a meeting with the people, the stakeholders, right? To see how your solution can fit into what they have going on, right? If you do that, you will fail and you will have bad stories to tell. They will have bad stories to tell about your services, right? So it's about listening in real time, right? The Bible is a fantastic book. My personal opinion, it's a book that I follow wholeheartedly, right? But I follow it with humility, meaning I calm down, right? I start with, I don't know shit, first of all, right? What is it that this story is trying to tell me? I don't take a verse out of context. The only way for people to justify crap with Bible is when they take one verse out of, like, have them read the full story, and then suddenly whatever narrative they're trying to paint is discombobulated. Okay, so why should you get into marriage? That's something that you have to assess yourself. If somebody is asking me that question, I tell them go and hide, because clearly you care about marriage. You have some kind of sentimental value attached to marriage, and that's why you're still asking those questions. If you really truly don't care about marriage, you wouldn't be asking that question. But if you are still asking those questions, or you engage conversations about marriage, even if you don't admit it, you care and you want it. What I would advise you to do is engage a coach, engage a counselor, not necessarily a therapist, your pastor, somebody, an elderly that have done it successfully. What does successfully mean? It doesn't mean that they hold hands in public. That's not what it means. Okay? It means they have experience. Okay? Listen, it means they have experience. Now you have to use your senses. Some people have terrible experiences, and you can also hear that they are speaking from a place of pain. But that's a real thing, right? So if you see me selling marriage I don't sell marriage because I'm like, it's just really that it's bad. Some people it's a lost cause. There's no need to sell marriage to them, right? So I don't attempt to sell it. But I know that the sentimental value that we attach to marriage is big enough. And that's all I need to focus on, right? If I say anything about divorce or marriage and you came inside this room and you keep listening to me, you have sentimental values attached to marriage and you care for it. And I'm advising you right now, you better engage someone, a person, right? With good experience, okay? But again, be careful because some people are just out to sell marriage at all costs. I'm not in that business either. Some people don't need to be in the marriage, okay? Particularly because of their character, they're not ready, they're not prepared, right? I think marriage is a fantastic institution by itself. I don't need to sell it. It's proven. You can check around, you see statistics everywhere, right? So, but like I said, the answer to that question, the one answer I can have you to that question is that you're trying to get me to sell you marriage. I would say you still care about marriage, engage a personal coach, and then let them help you. You need to answer that question yourself. Let them help you answer that question from your standpoint, because I don't have the answer, to be honest with you, because I don't know you personally. It depends from people to people, that part. But engage someone. The one thing I can tell you right now is that you care about marriage, and obviously I can also assume that you don't want to get into it and it's all bad, right? But the idea that you're just going to have somebody throw verses at you from the Bible and suddenly marriage will work, ask Pastor Chris and Pastor Okotie and Pastor Iginla and all those people. You know they work. Will they work? Will they work? I'm sorry. Okay. Do you know what it was? That washing plate is Kerewa already. He said only where is Kerewa? Look, some of our Niger men develop their ignorance. Is the washing plate? I guess we're still talking about basketball, right? All right. Let's see. CLC trouble. So the men will not cooperate, Abi. Gracious greatness. Okay. Hey, baby, how are you? How was school? Good? Yeah? Good? All right, see you later. All right, so I love that meme. I love it, you know. Last comment, Ice and Chiye projecting much me thinks. Well, I don't know what y'all are talking about. You guys talking to yourselves? That's fine. He met a girl that said no kerewa before marriage. He then insisted he want to wash plate. Because that's not part of kerewa. And the girl said, no, that's part of kerewa. What are we talking about? We're talking about basketball right now? Welcome, babe. I wish, because some of them are set in their ways and don't want to listen. Some women won't listen either, to be honest. Yeah, that's everywhere. That's a fact. And again, like I said, people are not going to listen unless your talkie is some kind of solution or represents or potential solution for what they can relate with. That's the only reason why people listen, you know. Me too, I can complain about the same thing. I can say, why is 1,000 people not watching me right now live? Because that's my desires. That's why I do a YouTube channel. Let's not cap, right? Let's completely let's stop
the cap.
I want people to be here, but again, people spend time around the things they value, particularly from a standpoint of feelings. Okay, so it is what it is, you know. Let's see. When vulnerable, they can get you. Please limit your Igbo pín sí oríṣiríṣi ọ̀nà, oríṣiríṣi Igbo la máa ń fà. You know, Brother Patrick, it's not the actual Igbo, you know. So let's see if I'm missing anything here. No, I promise I'm not trying to bring violence. I promise. I'm just trying to make sure that those of us that still care, that we get the right, you know. Somebody said Derek Jackson and BASKETMOUTH are seemingly the ones laughing all the way to the bank. Was BASKETMOUTH advising people, or you're just saying is the breadwinner, right? Zakiang Gandu, shout out to you. Shout out to Favor Yibo, by the way. I just hate divorce. Welcome to the club. So does God. God hates divorce too. Okay. You know why? Because it exists. You know, it's reality. People have been separating from each other since the beginning of mind. People say, "Oh, divorce are increasing." No, stop the cap. Okay, divorce is not necessarily increasing. Okay?
Stop the cap.
There's a higher chance. Obviously, we can see it everywhere, but it's partly for many reasons. Number one, we are recording data for the first times in history. They didn't used to record data. Okay, people didn't used to, especially in the Nigerian community, didn't used to go to court to marry too. When all those Iya slept with their other boyfriend on the back of the house, when they're actually the third wife too, nobody recorded those data. Right? When you're quoting data, let's be guided. That's all I'm saying. Sister George, good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. We are not anyone's therapist. Yes, don't get out here and trying to help people without making sure you're taking care of yourself. Put your own mask on first. Okay? Your own mask on first. Something that I have to do on a daily basis. Literally. On a daily basis. Okay? Two of my friend got tonsillitis. Is that an STD or something? Because of washing plate. Is that an STD in the mouth? The doctor had to perform operation on both of them, but they still insist they will not stop. It's you. Jesus by. All right. Take them easy. My lap plate too. You can long borrow. And somebody's going to say, but I would never lap plate of somebody who is not my wife. You're lying. If you're around it long enough, you will convince yourself that it's just this one time. Before you know it's the second time, it's the third time. These are one of the ways that marriage can be good, because you can say, hey, you've taken care of things that is going to feel natural earlier on in your years. When you're 24, 25, 26, 27, your eyes are everywhere. You think you have options. But reality is that at some point you become lazy, you become complacent, you want to be at home, just relax, and you don't have time to be running around the street with randoms, right? A typical person, of course, right? Not everyone, you know. Oh God, darling, welcome back from school. She's such a dear to come say hello to dad. Yeah, she is. She is. All right, so let me cover a few more things, okay? A few more things. I think this was much needed. You know, this was much needed. Let me post a few of some of my responses and what talking points created all the responses before we leave today. Okay, like I said earlier, let's be guided. Let's stop right now today. Just like many of you have realized that when people are generalizing, like all over the place, it's personal. It's okay to generalize. Okay, we all generalize to make a point sometimes. Okay, but if you notice that tell us your story, Joe. There's something happening. What happened to you? Tell us the damn story right now. Hey. So you know, it's stupid. It's just stupid to get into anything that doesn't have manual. That was one of my responses. So when people say marriage doesn't have manual, no, it does. Okay, tell us your story. Don't tell me. Don't tell social media. Engage your coach. Engage your pastor. Somebody, an elderly. Tell them somebody you trust. Somebody you know is centered. Somebody is not biased, right? And ask them, like, this is what I'm going through. What would you? Tell them your particular story, right? I guarantee you, they're probably going to point like, okay, you too. They will say things like, you too. This is the part. I think you're talking too much. I think it will have something to do with pride and unrealistic expectations, right? Unrealistic expectations could be you're expecting a woman who is for the streets to change suddenly. Maybe you went and married Kim Kardashian and then come and complain to us later. Unrealistic expectation. It will be narrowed down to those little things, right? But they can also help you shape it around your particular story so you're not messianing. Like everybody's saying, married, don't get manual. Okay, so that's one right there. Here's another one for people that say marriage doesn't have manual. Okay? The only thing I'm telling you today is that marriage has manual and guides, and they're all around you, but you rather listen to the toxic story. Some of you, if this news wasn't about divorce, you're not coming inside this room. If I said, hey, 13 ways to ensure success in marriage, you're probably not going to come in this room. Stop the cap. You know who you are. You know who you are. Anyway, here's another one. Why will feminine women, a lot of men always cry wolf about feminine women. They want this, they want her to be soft. She must be soft, it must be soft breast, it must be this, it must be that. Why will a feminine woman ever feel safe to enter anything without manual? Right? Why just think about that for a second. Oh, because they are the same one that complain about boredom. Remember? I told you variety is a need. Yeah, you can't be boring. I'm sorry, you can't be boring. I don't care how many girlfriends dumped you in high school. You can't be boring with respect to your marketplace. If you are the most boring person in your high school, yes, you will be served breakfast every time. It's not fair. I guess it's not fair. You're right. Oh, you're talking about marriage. Yes, inside marriage too. But that's terrible. We're committed. You became boring. Boring. In fact, that talking point is boring. It's no wonder why you're still collecting. Anyway, let's get that away from here. Let's find another one. All right. I have another one, I promise. I have a few. Then I'll see. But Patrick, would you like to come up and share some thoughts with us? Let me know in the chat. Or anyone who would like to. Let me know right now if you'd like to come up and have a say about this. No one mentioned patience. So basically, I was listening to this thing in the background, right? And not a single person that we're talking about, this is the question they were answering. Why are marriages crumbling everywhere? They're still talking right now. They're probably still talking on Clubhouse right now. That room is probably still running. There's not a single soul for over 2 hours who mentioned anything about patience and expectation. There was one guy that mentioned it. I didn't mention it too, because I just go there and listen and see how stupid people have become. And I say that with all due respect. I don't mean to call everyone stupid, but it's just getting really, really bad, right? Until one guy mentioned patience, expectation. No one. So I now said no one mentioned patience and expectation since. And they're yelling no manual everywhere. How about let's focus on those two things? Can that easily become a manual? Can you master patience with respect to a mortal human being that you married? Yes, a regular human being, Lasson that you married. Can we drill down on that? Can we write a whole book on patience? What about expectations, unrealistic expectations, managing your expectations? Do you think we can write a whole book? If I gave you 12 stories, do you think I can write a whole book? Oh yeah, we're working on that. By the way, we're working on that. Let me share this on the screen, by the way, really quickly before we continue. We do have a book, loveandprestige.com. You can go and download it over there at loveandprestige.com. But we are writing a new book called Love and Prestige, my wife and I. So I'm telling you, there's so much more to this. Okay? So somebody now came on, and the person, a young lady, I must say, she has one of the sexiest accents in the world. One of those UK in it accents. And she started to speak English. And then before we know it, she said, well, I thought what the guy said about patience and expectation, she said she thought it was hilarious. I was like, wow, that was hilarious, because it's not complicated enough. It didn't have all those big English words, NPD, clinical miscocotitis disorder, all those psychological words. It wasn't laced with that. It wasn't good enough on marriage advice. So she thought, this is what I don't know if I have the exact quote, but she thought it was hilarious. she thought it was hilarious. So how many of you are here right now and you think the secret to a successful marriage could be as simple as managing expectations and managing pride? And you think that's hilarious? Nah, it can't be that simple. There's some of you here right now. I promise you. That's why you go collect. That's why you go continue to collect. Okay? Because you're complicating something that's actually very simple. Why? Because you are complicated. You are complicated. Remember, that's actually a relationship status. Complicated, angry, never listens, single, divorced, married, all of the above. Right? Anyway, here's another one. It was an answer, but it's worth a reminder. If you have any comments, put them here. address them before we leave? I think this is you don't know yourself. You should get to know yourself first. Cap. Okay? Cap. You don't know yourself. You can't know yourself outside of how you relate with other people. Okay?
Stop the cap.
You can't know yourself outside of having experience with relating with other people. And you can't know yourself inside a marriage outside of having experience on a day-to-day. Learning, falling on your face, falling flat on your face, waking up, okay? All right? You can't. Think about it now. You can't know yourself. Oh, you read a book. Bro, it's one thing to know theory. Listen, I guarantee you know more theory about what makes marriage work more than me. What you're probably lacking is application. I promise you know more. You can use better English words better than me. I promise you. I'm not even capping, honestly. I promise you. You know more English words than me. You know more psychological terms more than me when it comes to marriage, or biblical terms around. You know them more than me. What you are probably lacking is application. So I should just run into it and no, I didn't say that. One day at a time. Learn how to read in real time. Learn how to solve conflicts in real time. Learn how to resolve conflicts in real time. Have realistic expectations around human beings. Human beings you can't trust. Put me in context. Stay in context. Yes, you can trust. You will trust anyway. When people are behaving in a certain way and they're consistent, you don't choose if you're going to trust or not. You're going to trust them. And sometimes they will fall short. And if you think that sometimes they won't fall short of, because where's expectations coming from? You trusted, right? Where's disappointment coming from? Is expectations, right? There's no way, shape, or form you go at this back and forth. It comes to the same thing. Okay, so now if you trust them enough to carry well with them, they are probably good enough to marry, or you're lying to yourself. Or you have unrealistic expectations of yourself in terms of the options you have. It could be, it's not an absolute. But what I'm saying is that you're probably going to end up hurting yourself. Doing kerewa all around town and talking about marriage is just, you're already living that risky life. You're already living such a risky life. Let me tell you something. Kerewa by itself is such a risky thing. Human beings are risky. One of the beauties about marriage is that it's a way for you to contain the level of passion that comes with it. This is where the commitment becomes useful. Okay? Because those passions are going to rear their little head. They come in the form of insecurities. They come in form of old traumas that's never resolved. Or you're just being outrightly just a human being. Somebody said, Ola Cap, you speak a lot of English, big English too. Auntie B is listening to me right now. She said, Ola, you're capping. You speak big English too. All right, so let's see. I got a few more. So after I heard the young lady, after she spoke her accent and she now came back, she said, what you should be looking for, I don't know the accent, but I'll try my best. What you should be looking for is looking for a life partner, and look for another person looking for a life partner. And then I'm like, yeah, BC. Everybody go collect more. I said, I conclude, English and accents are destroying marriages. They are destroying marriages. All right. Then Mafuruko and Nicola Shiri, because I posted the name here, I'm gonna take the name out. Okay. Let's call him a person. Someone's son. Let's call it somebody's son. Somebody's son said this. This was him advising people on marriage, by the way. Find a reason to make it not work. He said some women will literally be looking for a way. They'll be finding reasons to not make it work. This is part of being unrealistic. Is it intentionally unrealistic? Well, you know how I feel about intentions. I think everybody's just suffering. Okay. And I won't say cognitive dissonance. That's something that everyone throws around. I think it's deeper than that. Right? If you're in a relationship, gentlemen, if you're in a relationship with a person who is always finding reasons to not make it work, if this is how you feel, you deserve the situation you find yourself in. I know, that's harsh. Oh, Ash, I know. Oh, I know. Yeah. But you deserve that. Like, there's no better way to tell me that it's the way you move that's attracting the way this woman behaves. Even if it's not true, you're not helping me by saying things like this. She's just finding all type of reasons to not make you work. It's somebody's son, though, not somebody's sonny. Somebody's son. Right? These are the talking points out there. Ladies, as you have your terrible talking points that's killing marriages everywhere, men are now playing equal life partners with you. They're even trying to beat you at your own game. They are coming up with talking points all the time. Those talking points, why do I call them talking points? Well, because they're designed to compete with the other gender. No be juju be this. If you don't want the other gender, why engage them? If all you want them for is kerewa, why not start valuing the kerewa you're getting from them? That maybe this positive vibe you're getting can expand to other areas of life. If that's all you're going to get from her, you won't listen. You would think I'm dragging you now. You won't listen. Anyway, let me post this one. I don't know how long this is. I got two more. Okay, I'm gonna have to read this one. Okay, I'm gonna have to read this one. Let me read it. So they were talking. It was a conversation. Somebody said, why would you need compromise if you are compatible? Compatibility, the big word. There's somebody right now advising people, find someone that you're compatible with. Okay. Why tolerance when you can communicate? These are people who think they will remain adults in a romantic relationship, right? Enemies can become friends. Enemies can become friends. They are not compatible. That's a good point. Somebody's responding to the other person. Friendship doesn't equate compatibility. That's true, right? But two enemies can tolerate each other. All right. So after I read that, at least one person made sense to me. Okay. One person made sense to me. But I couldn't help but see the part of it where you're fighting principalities, the behind the scenes stuff, right? I couldn't help but see that, So I responded with this. Semantics are destroying marriages. Resist the urge to speak all this big English, looking to manipulate words to fit your narratives. It's very simple. Bringing two people together to do lifetime together, right? It's a beautiful thing if you can figure it out. It's highly rewarding. No, it's not easy. Neither is it as simple as your stupid dictionary meanings. Why? Because the other person is going to misinterpret your dictionary meaning too. They're going to interpret with the second meaning of the word. You're going to get stuck with the one. You're going to have the need to be right. And this is going to be your real life, your own marriage. Your children are involved. I'm telling you, keep it simple. Okay? You need to go back to what attracted you to that person. If they still have it, focus on it. Edify it. It will expand. If they don't have it, engage your autonomy. Engage your agency to walk away. That doesn't have to be a permanent decision. People will mimic the level of self-respect you have for yourself. Okay? So the person that I responded to, who had a fantastic response, but I just thought English is too much. English in marriage, I'm telling you, the English thing is destroying marriage. I'm telling you, people get stuck in semantics, or because they're more eloquent than the other person and they don't realize they actually take it into their marriage. This terrible, terrible behavior. Because if you think you're more eloquent than a person you're engaged with in life, how is that not going to translate to some level of pride? What do we know about pride? Listen, oh no, but no, I know. You figure it out. You got it. These numbers are just coming out of nowhere. But anyway, and she goes, says she. Shout out to her if she's listening, by the way. But I just want to cover people's name in case they don't appreciate. She said it's not semantics, so she said if we take our time to understand words, right? She said if we take our time to understand words and their connotations. She didn't speak like this, she was typing it, but I'm trying to imagine how she was trying to say it. I'm not a woman, so we will get the point. The problem with this is that some people don't have patience to be understanding your words. How they interpret that word is basically how they feel, and they will respond accordingly. Okay? I'm sorry. It's just the reality for every single one of us. Okay? Sure. Wait until I answered her, and I think this is the last for the day. Okay? This is the last right here. Unless somebody wants to come up, I'll see the comment in a second. I said sure. Wait until someone, I wanted to say, start accusing you of an extreme dismissiveness or talking too much. Dictionary meanings destroy marriages too. If you're looking for what's destroying marriages, look all around you. It's people's behavior, People lack patience, People have illusion of options. They are not real options. It's just the internet is moving that fast, but humans can't move that fast. We just can't. We're not able to. I don't care how many times you're able to swipe. You don't have that much time in a day, and you're wasting time. Every swipe is at least a microsecond. And in addition to that is building unrealistic expectation in your head, thinking you have options. This generation will collect if you don't engage wise counsel immediately. It's really that bad. It's not your fault. It's the human mind. You're soaking in all this stuff, but the results are just bad, and you can see it all around you. You may say, but BASKETMOUTH has been married for a while. How did he affect him? Well, if you're married today, it's affecting you. If you're married today and you're on social media, it's a factor you have to meet. It's a risk factor you have to mitigate. The more patience you're going to need with your emotions, with yourself. Listen, gentlemen especially, I always tell you, don't beat yourself up that bad. It's really what I'm asking you to do is be patient with yourself. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to. Okay? The more you realize you don't have to have all the answers, the more patient you become with yourself, and you're able to give some of that patience to another person. And guess what they interpret that as? Oh, it feels good to be around him. They might be yanning nonsense, but you don't take it personally. It's not that deep. Right? That doesn't mean you're shut up and you don't have anything to say. You can say that without feeling the need to be right. If you have to repeat it second, third, fourth time, there's a good chance you're engaged in a toxic argument with a woman. And any man who continues to engage in toxic argument with women and calls it just a debate, go collect. That's a fact of life. She will call you have small PP, you have small prick, get money. She go use all the shaming language that she gets. No matter how perfect she is, no matter how feminine she is, if she feels that you're always competing with her, including buying into the ideology she sold you, equality, you will collect. And guess who you get to blame? If you have to blame anyone, yourself. Okay? Yourself. So let's go to some of the last... it's a super story. Yes. So we need more of this. Gracious, I know be boring, yo. I go give them roller coaster. Bring some drama, But if you bring too much drama too, it will collect. But the truth is that human beings in general are bored without drama, especially women. Somebody translate that to see women love drama. That's a stupid thing to say. That's a very stupid thing to say. Okay. Why? Because I can tell you are turning it to an absolute. Okay. Human beings enjoy drama. It's entertaining. Does that mean you should bring drama all the time? You will collect. Does that mean you should interpret that, oh, women just love drama? You will collect. Because I can borrow and sing. Alright, so check WhatsApp. Oh, I can't check WhatsApp. I'm using the phone right now. Let's see. No, I could. Hold on 1 second. Let me just see. Let's see. Okay, I guess you're not talking to me. All right, so it spelled somebody's son. Chai, you give us a bond tonight. I know, Madam Milon. Pion. You're not as educated as I am. Lumapa marriage. That's a fact, and that's profound. And it's not because you say it like that. It's your attitude is showing it on either side. And you are the one that went to engage that person. You see? We Nigerian people are sometimes so elitist with our thoughts. We are. It's I better pass my neighbor syndrome. It's in marriage now. It's one of the things that's killing marriages. Some people say this way, like this is how they say. They say usually it comes in the form of indirect. They'll say, "But no, we don't do that in my family." No, it's only no. I've never no. We're not raised like that. You're yanning nonsense. We're not raised like that. And then you went and engaged somebody that's raised like that. By the way, most of us will make these mistakes. Okay, you won't see it coming, but at least you are aware. When what jabo, you will know. Say Kijiba no be you know say marriage no be your mate. You will know say Kijiba Kinshawo. You know. But let me see. I'm going to hang out for another 5 minutes. Anybody wants to take advantage of the clip? Because I do think this was a super masterclass. All right. And I think, I wish BASKETMOUTH and his wife the best. Sometimes it's just a lost cause. Sometimes the damages are too much, And I would never tell anyone or manipulate anyone that they must stay forever because somebody said they committed. I'm going to leave that in. Leave that thing. Life continues. The show must continue. The only thing I can do is tell you, like, if you're inside a marriage and you value it, these are skill sets that you have to develop. You don't fall out of the skies with this skill set. You just don't. Okay, you have to experience that feeling that you've hit rock bottom first. Okay, until then. You just find reasons. It's not the Bible that people are using to justify crap. People can find anything to justify their bull crap. Okay, that's because they haven't hit rock. It's not monopolized to the Bible. It's just in life. Only way. They might even spit proverbs at you. They may say things like, "Oh, that's true," but not just for women. Away in the mud for everyone. Okay, for everyone. Okay, that's the reality. So people, there are more than enough reasons around to justify nonsense when you haven't hit rock bottom yet. But when you hit rock bottom, no matter, even if you're a Christian, no matter how strong Christian you are, you go to start ask for babalawo. You will answer like. Let me give you an analogy for this. It's like people say, me, I'm a strong, stern Christian, like I hope to God that God continues to give you great health. Right? That you continue to be able to have good health that you can be grateful to God about, right? People that get hit with bad sickness, they don't have time for that nonsense. You go to the babalawo. Be poverty. If you say poverty, we need to fix corruption. And like, listen, People will corrupt. People will be corrupt now if there's poverty now. Like, what kind of stupid expectations are this everywhere? People will be corrupt. The same concepts, you can look around you. The only time it doesn't add up for you is when you're discounting emotions, people's feelings. Then you start to say things like 1 + 1 must equals to 2 all the time. And then you're surprised that, wait, she's bringing 11. Where's the rest of this story coming from? You fight not the flesh. You fight not the flesh. Right? You're fighting all type of forces. All type of forces are working against you. But it makes sense to me. It's an active marketplace. There's always somebody trying to take your place. There's always someone out there who will willingly take your place when you don't know how to value what you've got. This is just the reality. People don't value themselves anymore because they have illusion of option. They don't realize that it's all a facade until they end up in the streets, until they swipe 100 times a day, and they realize that, oh, there's F boys and F women everywhere. Everywhere you turn, more than enough. How did they become F boy? Because they're also browsing for the same thing on that same platform. This evil laugh is not just an evil laugh. I'm trying to get you to get to a point. Okay? I'm trying to get you to a point. Okay? You need to be aware. You need to understand that for every new solution, a new problem is created. What is the solution I'm talking about? Technology. That's a new set of problems that comes with this generation. And you're not prepared for it. It's not your fault. Faults are not relevant. Okay? But if you've heard this and you continue to repeat the same talking point that all the lames on both sides are repeating. Oh, yo, somebody wanted to blame feminism. Like, feminism is like the weather. It just is. Okay? You can't blame feminism. You can't. Every time you blame feminism, you're blaming yourself. Literally. And blame and fault does not have to be relevant. When you're confused, it's time to learn something new. It's time to learn something new. Not from me. If you learn something new from me, I appreciate that. Thank you for all the positive news that I get from time to time in the messages. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay? However, I think what I'm going to leave you with today is that the best person to learn about your marriage from is the person that you are married to, your spouse. The only thing that can kill that idea is your inability to be able to listen actively. That's the only thing that can kill that idea. Because how do you translate that? How do you say that out? You say, they're just evil. Are there evil people in the world? Yes. There's a good chance you're not married to one of them. Okay? The only chances of evil that exists is that you're evil, you don't realize it. You're not intentionally evil. Why am I calling you evil? Well, maybe you're not evil. You're creating evil outcomes. The numbers tells it all. There's no one that goes into a marriage expecting to be divorced. No one. There's no one that sits in a marriage to say things like, I'm just going to look for a way to not make you work. That's typically not that situation. Okay? If that's what you're focused on, it's no wonder why you're attracting your situation. Is that an indictment? No, relax. It's not an indictment. I'm not trying to judge you. I'm trying to help you see things from just another angle. What if they're just evil? It's time to walk away. You can decide to walk away. It doesn't have to be a permanent decision. Because again, you may be making that decision from a very blind spot. But if you feel like you're in harm's way, walk away. Emotionally, verbally, physically, walk away. That's for now, at least. Nothing good is going to come out of you staying in a situation that you feel like it's toxic. Somebody's going to say, oh, but it's just feelings. It doesn't last. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. The only thing that drives our experiences are feelings. Literally. Nothing else. In fact, those facts and stats and data you're quoting, you're precisely pulling them up from your feelings. Okay? That standpoint, you went direct, you know exactly what stats you were looking for. You went there, you looked for it, and you're quoting it at us. That's just a fact. But all that you said, don't say that's a fact, and you just said a fact. Oyibo, English, accent. Take it easy on yourself, oh. Gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen of prestige, take it easy on yourself. Okay? It's deep, but it's not that deep. It's not that deep, I promise you. Take care of yourself first, okay? So you can have something else to offer the rest of the world. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you think you need to have all the answers, you're going to hurt the next person. Anytime you're going to hurt the person you're sleeping with, even if you have good intentions. All right? Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one, and peace.